Is Kill the Justice League worth it? I beat the campaign last week and I've been spending the past couple of days playing through the endgame missions and going through my thoughts on the entire game. And I'll admit it, I was quick to judge the game based on previews and reviews. But I will say I am glad I gave it an honest shot. First, there are a lot of things I think this game is exceptional at. The models, the details, and the graphics and lighting are beautiful at times. The cutscenes are really well crafted and blocked to showcase that level of detail too, and I really enjoyed watching them play out. Where the visuals are kind of muddled down, I'll say, are in the overworld of Metropolis, but to a certain level, it reminds me of like Superman, the animated series, and the neo-futuristic backdrops of Metropolis, but brought to an experience here, albeit during an alien invasion. Sure, the writing can be cringy at times, but it is based off comic IP, so anything further from James Gunn level inspired movie writing was already asking a lot, and some will enjoy it more than others. The combat, I think, varies depending on who you end up choosing to play the most with. Personally, I found Boomerang to be the most fun to play with, even though I found him the most annoying of a character, although they all kind of have the same through line. You get two guns and you shoot things. With Boomerang, I essentially played him like I was playing Tracer in Overwatch, where I would go into enemy groups, zip around, bang, boom. I had a good time. But when you encounter the enemies, that's where the game's biggest criticism lies. It gets repetitive in its mission structure, where there's just a handful of escort, protect, and fetch missions just in different scenarios. And that's fine because you can still have a lot of fun within those for a time. I think there's only so much variation between the characters and missions where it doesn't get stale in that cadence, or once you get through the grind of leveling up all those characters. Granted, it is a lot to get through. Aside from the main story, which you can beat very fast, the end game does get boring because of this. And with only a week after beating the story and being kind of over the end game missions already, having to wait until there's new content doesn't necessarily leave me wanting. And that's due to the live service aspects, which felt just jarring at times. My biggest gripe was in completing missions and being met with Overwatch play of the game type end cards and loot boxes. I just want to play, and being intermittently taken out to get menus through talent screens, new weapons that may or may not be better than what I already have equipped, currencies, buff numbers, etc. It's just like too much. I will say, despite all of that, the game is truly what you make out of it. I enjoyed my time enough to get through the main story and liked what I played there. It was in the end game where the repetitive nature really reared its head, and it's not that big of a deal to get through the main campaign and missions there, but that aspect is short. At $70, I do think that's a tough hill to climb up because it inevitably gets stale right now, but maybe that won't always be the case. Rockstar has already shared their roadmap for at least 4 seasons of content post-launch with new characters, more areas, story, and more. So I think eventually there will be a lot to enjoy here, especially with friends, which I mean, if you can convince 3 other people to spend $70 each for a few hours of gameplay now, good on you. But down the line at a lower price point and much more content that solves the repetitive issues, hopefully, I think you'll get way more out of it. If there's something you specifically liked about the game, let me know.